All right, and now I'm going to share my screen. All right, so today we're concentrating on, again, the theme for this year in Google Club has been digital resilience and thinking about using Google tools to support digital resilience. And digital resilience is all the things we need to be able to push through when there's a problem. So either something new, something changes, you're trying out a new tool. How do we deal with that? And how do we build a sense of resilience in ourselves and in our students so that when this inevitably happens, we are able to overcome it eventually, even if we have to walk away for a moment. So the session today is specifically on where can we go after your students leave your class or after you leave this workshop? If you hit up against something, what do you do then? What are the things that are available to you? What can help you? And also, what are your current habits? And maybe you do things with different kinds of content. We all have areas, I think, in our lives where we feel very confident and willing to push through when there's a bit of a problem. And then there are other places where if we kind of just bump up to a problem a little bit, we might have to run away. I think many of you have heard my stories. My issues are generally around knitting and sewing, which I would like to do both, but I definitely do not have a lot of resilience with either of those things. Whereas with technology, I tend to think I can push through. And I know for many, it's the other way around. So we look to the things that we do feel successful with to understand a little bit about maybe how we can emotionally shift ourselves in the areas that we feel a bit less resilient in. So we're going to be looking today at how we learn new things, places we can go get help when we're ready for it. I'm going to put us in slideshow mode. All right. Um, So as usual, you know that this is funded through DYCD, and DYCD has DYCD Connect, where you can go and find out about other workshops and other things that are going on with DYCD. The objectives today, so when you leave the session, you should be able to locate several places online where you can go and get help when you need it with technology tools, and specifically around googly stuff. But I think everything we're talking about today can uh, much of it can be used elsewhere as well. And we're talking about open educational resources. So you see here it's OERs, that stands for Open Educational Resources, and we're going to talk a little bit about those. In fact, we'll start off with those, I think, in a moment. As I mentioned at the very beginning, we do have two more Google Club meetings this year. Next month, we'll be talking about AI and the googly tools that are AI focused or AI, Google AI tools, and how we can use them for productivity and to, make our work lives and maybe our personal lives smoother. Um, and then the last session we usually have, we're going to do it again this year. It's an opportunity for you guys to come and demonstrate or tell us some of the things that you've been doing. Um, I won't take time this time, but at the next meeting and in between, I'll be emailing you to remind you that you can sign up to do a 5-10 minute little presentation on something that you've been trying out with a Google tool, either with your students or in your life. And it could be something that's been successful or something you're in the middle of. A number of you I know have been with Google Club for several years and may have presented in the past, but do consider to present again because it's always really great to hear how you're actually turning this around and using it with your instruction. Um, so that will be our last session, is more of a kind of show and tell session. Okay, so we are covering today how do we learn new things? Where do we go when we bump into something we don't know or we're frustrated and can't find something's not working the way it should? Um, so we're going to be looking at YouTube a little bit. We're going to talk about open educational resources. We're going to look at two particular sites that Google has where you can go to find tutorials or even deeper, like a actual series of workshops or even an in-person class. So we'll be looking at those. And we do have, I'm going to start us off. So with this, how do we learn new things? I did create us a little poll. So I'm going to put that out right now. Um, so this is a poll that has two questions. They're both about how you learn. So the first one's how do you learn new skills? And the second question is how do you adapt to changes in technology? So you should see a little thing that popped up just now to let you answer the polls. And the answers, I've given you multiple choice, and you can click as many as are true for you. So think a little bit about an example maybe in your life where you had to learn a new skill. Your car broke down, or you were going to cook something new, or try something new with your students, try out a new tool with your students, go on a vacation somewhere. What did you do? How did you get new information for that? So you could again you can make as many selections there as you want, and we do have an other. So if I didn't list it, you can click on other, and then for the second question, same answers, but how do you adapt to changes in technology? So this is more specific to technology. And maybe we should say Google, but it doesn't have to be Google, any kind of technology. So say you're used to coming in to your I've been having issues recently. I changed the new Outlook and I love it in some ways, but there are things I could do with the old Outlook that I can't figure out with the new Outlook. So I had to go and do some Googling. And even then, sometimes the response, I haven't found the answers because it's also new. So that's been frustrating. So take a moment to respond. If you didn't see the little pop-up, I'm going to see if I can get this QR code to work. Will it do it? Oh, there it is. So you can scan that QR code as well, and answer on your phone if you want to. So if you didn't see the poll pop up on your screen, you can scan the QR code to answer the poll. So I'm going to wait a few minutes, one more minute, to see if we can get a few more responses here. But YouTube is a clear winner, I'd have to say. I think we all are using YouTube a lot. Oh, but we do have some others, so we'll have to find out what other things people are doing. So to get to the second question, you scroll down past the first question, or you can make the poll larger, I think, by dragging on the top or the bottom. So again, we'll give you one more minute to respond. And the first question, it looks like more people are answering that one. So to get to the second question, again, you just scroll down inside the poll window. But there should be a little drag bar on the right side. All right. Well, yay, answers are still coming in, but I'm going to go ahead and I should be able to share the responses with you. All right, I'm going to end the poll now, and then I should be able to share the results. All right, so you should be able to see the results. So clearly, and actually what I'm going to do is do a little screenshot so we can pull them into our slides. All right. So sorry, I'm just trying to, all right, I'm going to put our stuff here so you can see it. So this was what we got for the first question. And then let me give you the second question. All right. So it looks like, as I said, YouTube is definitely the way that most of us, 100% of us, or 92% of us, get help when we need it. And then probably the next most popular is the trial and error over here. And yeah, same with new tech. What's interesting is for generally learning new skills, people are taking in-person classes, but that's not probably what we do. Most of us don't do that when we're looking at changes in technology. But maybe we ask our friends and our family and people, colleagues around us more for that one. Um, and then, does anybody who answered other want to tell us a little bit what they do? You can unmute or write it in the chat.
Hi, yes, I chose other for those categories. I do actually tend to rely on AI for certain skills,
All
whether
right.
I'm cooking a recipe or trying something in my classroom. I'll ask Claude or Google Gemini.
All right. I love it. So we're going to add asking AI tools. And I'll make that so it's not on underneath. Do you have a particular AI tool that you like to use, Ian?
I use Gemini
And that fits
from
into our
Google.
Googliness today. So we'll put in Gemini
Yes,
right
it
here.
does.
Very nice. Excellent. Anybody else? Any other ways that you get help when you need it? When you're learning a new skill or you bump into something in technology that you need to adapt to? So this is something to talk about with your students too, right? So what are they going to do after they leave your class, both to continue practicing the skills that the content area skills that they're learning from you, but then also with their digital skills. How are they going? What are they going to do when they get a new phone and they don't know how to do something on it, or they and find out because they probably have really good support networks, but sometimes they might not know that there are other resources out there. And I'm not including it today because we're really talking about Google stuff, but the libraries are amazing. I think all the three library systems in New York offer sort of one-off workshops on specific things around technology. So that's a really good resource to let your students know about. Excellent. So we see that YouTube is very, very popular, and YouTube fits into our googly world today because we all know that Google owns YouTube. So if you have a Google account, you also have a YouTube account, and that means you can track your YouTube work. So that's our first tool that we're looking at today. So when you are looking at YouTube, you can log in. I don't know if all of you are doing that. You might just be going to YouTube on your phone or your TV or on your computer screen and you don't bother logging in. I have, let's see, let me pull up YouTube here. Because I'm on Chrome and I'm logged into Chrome, I'm logged into my YouTube as well. Um, I do have two different Google accounts. I have my work Google account, which is what you're looking at right now, and this is going to be my work YouTube account, which I don't use very much. Um, And then I have my personal one, which is where connected to my phone, connected to my TV at home. And so most of the YouTube that I watch and use on an ongoing basis is in my personal account. But when you're logged in to YouTube, and you can tell that you're logged in because over here you'll see your initial or your face or whatever. Once you're logged in, you can create playlists, and you can subscribe and follow specific people. So, um, when I'm subscribed or when I'm logged in, I can see over here that I have the history. So this will show me all the videos I've just watched. I can create playlists. So videos that I think all fit together. So maybe how do I use Google in the classroom for teaching ESL or something like that? I could make one for that, or it could be on Google Slides. You can see here a lot of these are on different kinds of technology tools, but here's one just on New York. Sewing tips, because as I said, I have a lot of personal drama with sewing. So to create a playlist when you find a video that you want to watch. So let's look at creating. OERs, which we're going to talk about in a moment. Um, Ideally, you'd watch the video, right? And you'd find that that is a video that you'd like to keep and be able to get back to easily. So we're going to go to this one and not play it. Stop it from playing. Okay. So when I'm looking at the screen, below the screen is a lot of different kinds of information, right? So often when you watch a video on television or on your phone, you might not notice this as much, but you can come down here and there's usually a lot more information below. Um, you can obviously rate it. You can share it, which usually gives you a short link. So you can do this link. Um, you can also change the link so that the video starts at a certain point. Say you were sharing this with someone and you wanted them to see at point. So let's say we're in this video and again, this is very artificial because you want to be sharing something you really want to share, but this is the moment that's really important. Then you can click on share and click on start at the 37th second. And now this link will have that built into it. So when I share it with someone, they'll see the whole video, but they'll be starting at the point that I wanted them to. And obviously, you can share it on a variety of tools here. So if you're working with students using WhatsApp, you could send it out that way. You could send it through your email and you can just embed it into a website. I generally just grab these links. I put a lot of links into my slides, or maybe I send an email with them. So that was our share. We have ask, which nowadays, if we see this little symbol, that's Gemini, right? That's the built-in AI for Google. So you'll see that symbol there. And then we have save, and that's how we put it into a playlist. So you'll be seeing all the playlists that already exist. By default, there's a watch later playlist, but everything else I think is something that I've decided, and I can create a new playlist right now. So this could be my OER playlist. And you can decide if it's public or private or unlisted. And you can collaborate with other people. So maybe in your work, you could have a collaborative playlist about a certain topic or something. And that way, your colleagues, you could all be putting saving your useful tools right there together or useful videos together. So if you could create, okay, so now I have that playlist. And then there are some other things I can do. So some videos you can download, and that can be helpful, especially if your Wi-Fi is not, or your internet is not always so strong, or you're going somewhere where there is no internet, you can download them and show the video. But not all videos can be downloaded this way. I'm always a little confused because my personal Gmail or Google account is part of a family package and it's paid for. So I have certain premium features. And then when I come into my work one, it's always a little different. So I never quite know which is a premium feature or not. But I think downloading is not a premium feature, but I think you can download more if you have the premium level of YouTube. Um, and then to get back to that side menu is those three lines on the side. So we had history, we had playlists, and then watch later is automatically there for you. The history is also, these are basically playlists, they're just automatic. So you're not adding things, but they will automatically go there. Or at least you can, history will automatically go there. Watch later, you can add yourselves. Liked videos, your videos, downloads, and this show more. Oh, this is just showing my, yeah. So clips is another way. Earlier when I showed you that you could share a video where it starts at a certain minute or second in the video, that's just in the sharing tool over here. Clips would actually limit what the person receiving the clip could see. And I think it's up to a minute, and it will start the video at a certain point and end it at a certain point, but the person getting the clip will not see the whole video. So if you're working with students and you don't want them to somehow, it's confusing or it's a very big video, clips can be helpful. Generally, if something is being shared with me, I'd prefer to have the whole thing, even if you're just telling me to start at the 37th second. But you know your students and you know what's going on. So that's how clips work. Um, yeah. Anyway, so that's all stuff there that's available to you. And if you subscribe to a creator on YouTube, right? So when you watch videos, they'll often tell you to subscribe and like. So subscribing means that every video that that person makes is going to go into your feed. So when you come into YouTube and you're just there, um, this feed will include all the videos that you of from the people that you subscribe. Now, the algorithms have changed, and YouTube, along with all of social media, is going to keep putting stuff in your feed that they want you to see, not necessarily that you've indicated that you want to see. So you might, in order to limit that, you can come over to find your subscriptions, and then you can just see that stuff. So that'll be up here. So you can see a specific channel from someone. What's something to know, like various organizations like the LAC, for example, if you go to the lacnyc.org, we have been curating a number of playlists for topics that we think are important for adult education folks. So when you come to our website, if you come up here and you go to our little YouTube symbol, it takes you to our YouTube channel, but you can see the playlist we've created. So when you come here, you can see home. These are the videos that we've actually created, which a number of them are our Google Club meetings. And then we have playlists, and we try to keep this up to date. Some of these are going to be a little out of date, but like I was saying, this workshop is or at least Google Club, we have this focus on digital resilience, and you're like, digital resilience, I don't really understand. You could come here and look, watch these 9 videos that we've curated to show that we think are useful for that particular topic. And then you could even subscribe, I think, to the playlist, or maybe add it to your own playlists. But you can come back here if you want to. One of the things I'm annoyed by, and maybe one of you knows how to do this, I find the sorting in all of this YouTube business, they're very, it's not sorted in a way that I find useful. So right now, I think this is based on when new videos were added. Here you can technically, yeah, there you go. So date added, last video added. That's so stupid. I just went alphabetical. So just know that that's an annoying YouTube thing, that it's hard to sort this in a way that I think is very approachable. But just know you can come through and find stuff. You have to look around a little bit. I think you can search here too, though, within this channel. So that's something to know about and something for you to consider doing. So you, as a teacher, or in your program, you could have playlists that you can send students to, and it allows you to, when we talk about technology or the technology that we're using, I like to talk about consuming, creating, and curating, right? Those are kind of 3 different areas of activity. And so consuming, we're really good at watching videos. I'm really good at watching videos. I can create videos, and I don't know if anyone here, if you in the chat, if you want to say if you are a video creator and have put some up on YouTube, so you can be a creator, and we want to make space for that with our learners as well, and want to notice in ourselves when we are participating in the creation of content, whether it's YouTube or something else. And then we have curating, and at the end of the day, I'd say curation becomes, I'm not going to say it's the more important skill, but the ability to put things somewhere where you can come and find them again, or you can share them with people or yourself, you can get back to them when you want them. That I think is the hardest part of all of this, because there's just so much information moving past us all the time. I was just thinking today, and maybe not all of you, I mean, if you're teaching, maybe you're not sitting at a desk with a computer and dealing with email all day long, but like the amount of email that comes through my inbox is crazy. And 20 years ago, 30 years ago, there would have been none. So it's such a different world that we live in these days. In my lifetime, like it feels like that's a short period of time, and it's so radically different. So this idea of curating information and making it something that is filtered so that the really important good stuff is something you can get back to. I think YouTube playlists can be a real benefit for you to find, for you to create, and for you to teach your students about so they can also do that for themselves as well as look at your playlists if you end up doing playlists. And playlists, if we're looking for help with a specific topic, a playlist is really helpful because there could be 10 different videos on this topic, but they're covering different elements of it, and you only need one part, right? You don't need all of it. So the playlist is a place you can come and look, but you'll only need to watch one of the videos. When someone opens up a playlist, um, and this might be a bad example because I think we only have one video there, but what happens when you open up a playlist is the videos can just be played in order. So if I start playing, it'll go through all of them, but I can also see the videos down the side. So let's find an example. So we know we have 9 videos in this one. So, oh, there we go. So down the side, we have all the videos that are in this playlist. And if I want, I can just play all of them. These symbols mean shuffle them, mean loop the playlist over and over again. But it will just move from one to the next. But the person coming in can also just pick one and they don't have to watch all of them. You can also share the whole playlist. I can save this playlist to my library. So if you come to the LEC setup, you can find a playlist you find valuable. You can save that playlist to your own library. Let's see. How do I share my playlist? I might have to do it from that previous page. All right. So if you click on view the whole playlist, here we get that share link. So if I click on this little arrow, which is the YouTube share, this link would take you to the whole playlist rather than to an individual video. And you just test whatever link you're sharing to make sure it's going where you want it to go. You can also invite collaborators. These would be people who can add content to the playlist. Okay, so that was YouTube, right? So we have go to youtube.com. You can log in. Yeah, Marika.
Sure. I just have a question. So if I have a playlist and I share one video of the playlist, do they have access to the whole playlist or do they only have access to that video?
They only have access to the video. They can come find your playlist, but there's nothing in the link that you're sharing that would tell them there's a playlist.
Okay, great. Thanks.
You're welcome. It was a good question. All right. And then, so we talked a lot about playlists. Channels are really how you organize your videos. So if you're uploading videos, you create a channel. I think you can have more than one channel under one account, but I've never done that. So, my work email is nell@lacnyc.org. That YouTube channel will have all the videos that I create, and they're going to be mixed, right? It's going to be maybe personal videos that I make or ones that are from instruction. They'll all go up there. The videos that I create or the recordings we do from Google Club, I upload them in the LAC account. So they're not in my personal account, they're in the LAC YouTube. So they're sitting up there that way. I'm going to check the chat because there's a couple of things in there. I see some people introduce themselves. All right, so let's see here. So, oh, excellent. So you guys have been answering each other's questions. Thank you, Dennis, for jumping in there. Um, there you go. Yeah, so seeing the full playlist will allow you to share. Thank you for that, sharing that in the chat. Okay, so that was YouTube for us. And YouTube, it looks like you guys are all using it a lot. You just may not have known that you could save within YouTube itself, create those playlists and get back to the stuff you want to be able to get back to or share it with other people. Okay, so our next thing is open educational resources. And very quickly, does anybody here use any open educational resources already? I'm going to look at the chat and see if you can just raise your hand. So the idea of open educational resources these are materials that have been created by people that can easily be used by others. So they're designed in such a way that it's very easy for someone else to take the content and um, maybe even change it a little bit, but give credit to the original creator. So we see here they're free. That's a very important aspect of an open educational resource. That's what makes it partly what makes it open. So it's freely accessible. It's going to be licensed, usually with a Creative Commons license. So instead of copyright, Creative Commons is an alternative way of licensing, especially online content that ex says explicitly how you want other people to credit you, and what they can do with the content that you're creating. So we'll look at that a little bit. Um, for us, it's going to often be lessons or materials that we might want to use, but it could be other kinds of content, research could be included in there. Um, and the idea is that whatever you're creating, other people need to be able to get it, change it according to whatever the licensing is, uh, remix it, and distribute it to their own folks. Um, what is very wonderful about open educational resources, beyond the fact that they're obviously low cost, free, is that they're often going to be give you access to materials that are very close to, or very new, right? It's hard for us when we're working on something new, like AI, right? AI is still relatively new in education. So if you're trying to share resources around that, there won't be a book, there won't be as much previously published stuff. Uh, so sometimes open educational resources can respond more quickly to changes in what's going on. Um, it can be challenging, just like with YouTube or any of these other tools where, everybody can create stuff. It doesn't mean that everything is going to be great. And so there is definitely, you need to review what you're looking at and make sure that you feel like it's high quality and useful for your particular need. Um, a lot of universities, when I was doing some research on this and finding kind of how, if you want to make your own open educational resources, a lot of universities have information about this. So it's done often in that post-secondary level. Um, for us, where you can find open educational resources that might be useful specifically to our needs. Uh, there are the New York State Education Department, not the adult ed necessarily, but just in general. There's an open educational resource group. Let's go look at that one. Um, so again, it kind of defines what they are, and then it's telling you some resource libraries that they recommend. Um, OER Commons is one that I also have listed. And it seems to sort of be, it's one of the central locations that if you create open educational resources that you might be sharing on your own website, you still want to be able to share them here because this becomes a central hub for open educational resources. So if you decide to make some, you can come here and add them, but you have to make sure that you're following the rules. So you'd have to check that out before you finished up your materials. Um, an example for us that's kind of interesting. So there are two examples that are part of my world. One of them is the Digital Skills Library. They developed a glossary. So if you're teaching digital skills, one of the underlying areas of knowledge that folks need is vocabulary. So whether they're a native English speaker or not, being able to talk about what's going on with their technology is really important. And we don't usually practice that language, so we might not even know it. So World Ed put this together, and they actually did it as a crowdsourced project. So they had a lot of people involved in creating it, all these people, and me. I was one of those people. Uh, and basically, what they created was um, a crowdsourced list of vocabulary. We had to make definitions. So being part of the project, you were all assigned certain words, and then you had to go find a definition, and you had to follow a certain set of rules. Finding, it needed to be a certain Lexile level. We were downloading images that had to be uh, non-copyrighted, and we were using something called Noun, the Noun project to do that. And then everything was put into a set of slides. So these are Google slides, if we go look at them. And the idea here is that you can come here and, grab this slide set and then just kind of take the ones you care about. So there's a lot of them. I don't know if it'll tell us here how many there are. Oh, yeah, 408. 408 slides. So that's overwhelming. You're probably not going to use this directly with students, but you could grab just the slide you wanted. And it has an audio clip, so you can actually hear the word being pronounced. There's a definition, it's used in a sentence, and there's an image. But back on that other page, they also show you, they have an instructor guide, they have an index, and then they have the glossary, the slides in a thematic order. So what I was just showing you now is the A to Z. So again, unlikely that you would use the whole thing in one go, but it is a great resource to come back to. And it was designed so that it would be very easy for you to just take the pieces that you want. The other example is this digital ESL. It's an ESL or series of lessons on mobile phone, digital skills around mobile phones. So we go view the resource, and can anyone tell me what kind of Google tool they used to create this? You can unmute or put it in the chat. Which Google tool did they use to create this open educational resource? It looks like a book, right? So if we scroll down, but we can see over here that it's slides. So they just reoriented their slide and made it into a book. So you could print this out on regular letter paper, right? 8.5 by 11 paper, but it's actually made using Google Slides. So it makes it very easy for me to come in and pull out just the piece that I need. It meant that the person creating it could come in and put in graphics very easily. So you would make a copy of this for yourself, and then you'd be able to edit it. And she takes, here's a list of all the lessons. So again, you don't have to do the whole thing. And when you get into one of the lessons, there's a teacher's resource. So here we have the Creative Commons telling you how you can use it. So in this case, we need to give attribution. We can't sell it. We can share it, remix it, transform it, build upon it, and there's no other restrictions. So that's how you stay within the license. And here we have some tips for you as a teacher, including a series of lesson outlines and things like that. This is the person who created it, so if you need to contact her, you can. And she has a LinkedIn account or LinkedIn group maybe, for this particular project. So you can go there and ask questions. And then there's a lesson plan outlines and yeah. Anyway, oh, she talks about the noun project. I think she uses those symbols too. So the noun project I just mentioned, we use those to create the icons with the definitions. Noun project is free. And you can just come here. It is one of the challenges. I tend to use AI a lot to make my images these days, so I don't have to worry about copyright. But say I wanted a symbol for a computer keyboard. It'll give me lots and lots, and mostly these black and white icons, I think, is what the Noun project specializes in. And you can choose the one that you like. You can You might have to log in to download them, and then you give credit when you download it and use it. You'll see that that was true over here. Uh, this was Studio 360, but let's see, here we go. Yeah, so created by Nikita, cousin from Noun Project. So they give credit to who created the image. So Noun Project is a great resource as well. I'll add that to our slides. I don't have that in there right now. So those are some examples of OERs. And then I also have here some recommendations if you're interested in thinking about taking your materials and creating OERs or maybe within your staff. I'm working on a project with Fifth Avenue Committee on they've been putting together a curriculum for basic digital skills that's kind of connected with North Star, but kind of faster than North Star's own lessons. And that's going to be an open educational resource. So I'm working on this myself right now. And it is interesting when you're developing, I'm doing it in slides, very much like Tally did for the ESL one, but making sure that everything is really easy for someone else to come in. She even lists what font she uses and everything like that. So you really want to make it as easy as possible for other people to take what you've created and make it work for their particular need. Any questions? So this idea of open educational resources is a movement to create free content, right? So you don't have to buy books. We don't have to contact someone about their copyright or trademark or whatever. This is sort of a crowdsourced, um, free sharing of information. And in some ways, that's kind of what the internet should have been. And it became a place for people to make lots and lots of money. So it's a really interesting culture, and it's international. The video here. Yes, this webinar actually is in Ireland. They're talking about OERs. This seven-step guide is from 2014. So this idea has been around for a long time. This is nice just because this person talks about these 7 things to think about, but you might even do them differently now. They talk about a learning management system. I don't even know if I would do that. I would probably do it in Google or something like that where people can easily change materials. Um, so anyway, any questions about OERs or anybody, is this making you think like, oh, actually, I have used OERs now that you say all those things? And what worries do you have, right? Concerns, like there's no one, I think the OER website might vet things, but I feel like that's the downside, right? This is the Wild West on some level. You need to know what it is that you want. Uh, so when you're reviewing someone else's work, you have to have a reason to believe that it's valuable or useful. So the work that's out there as OERs, we want to make sure that whatever we're sharing or what we're getting is real. Okay. And feel free to keep adding stuff in the chat. I'm taking the silence to mean that you still maybe have not experienced any OERs, but hopefully now you'll be keeping your ear out for them or your eyes out for them and maybe creating your own. Um, so the next thing is, as I mentioned, Google has created at least 2 different kind of gathering spaces for all of the resources they create or manage around learning googly stuff, right? So the first one we're going to look at is learning.google, right? And we know that with Google, most things have this rule, although we would do .com at the end. But if we want to learn, here we have learning.google. So let's go look at that. So they've mishmashed things together in several different places. So we'll see some of the same stuff in the different places we go. But this is one place to go check out, right? And they've divided this into learning for school, learning for work, and learning for life. And when you scroll down, there's a lot of resources under each one of these, right? So they mention here grow with Google. Grow with Google is something we'll see in the next section as well. And grow with Google, is anyone here a Grow with Google partner? Your agency might be a partner with Grow with Google. Um, so the way that Grow with Google works is they've developed materials to train people how to do things, how to make a website, for example, or how to use Google Sheets to manage your appointment book if you had a salon and you needed to manage people signing up for appointments or whatever. Um, they've focused mostly on using Google for small businesses. I think they see that as a space they want to support and get people connected to them. So Grow with Google has a lot of pre-created training materials around Google tools and how they can be used for small businesses or for work, more than for education, I would say. And If you become a partner with Grow with Google, and I think they're pretty happy to partner with any nonprofit for sure, especially educational, then you can use their resources to provide those lessons. So they won't have the trainers usually. They need you to have the trainers, but they will have resources for you. And you can actually even, if you were opening this up to people beyond your classes or your usual folks, Grow with Google has an online sign up space. So people could, from the general public, could find out about your program and come and attend your workshops if you wanted them to. Grow with Google has changed a little bit over time. I don't know if any of you were part of, we maybe pre-pandemic, we had a cohort of workshop of Google, four different cohorts of folks going through Google training, and we were partnered with Grow with Google and actually used their space to do that. So they, Google has a couple of large buildings at this point, I think, up on like above 14th Street, like 19th or whatever. And at that time, they had classroom space you could use. I don't think they have that anymore. So they've changed over time too, but they still definitely have those resources. And by being a partner, you don't have to offer any classes. We're still a partner with them, but we don't offer their classes. But we can. They'll have webinars and things where you can learn things from them. So it's not bad to become a Grow with Google partner. We'll look at that a little bit more in a moment. Um, so we have free trainings, we have Code with Google, we have Grow with Google. So this is Google with for Work. Let's go look at that a little bit more. Um, then they have a series of trainings you can take online. Very AI focused. So if AI is something you want to learn more about, there's a lot of different training videos here. Um, this might be helpful for your students, right? Professional training for job seekers. So there's some certificates here. Again, Google has changed over time. There used to be sort of a general set of certificates just for Google skills, and now they're much more work specific certificates for specific work areas. So we see here cybersecurity, data analytics, marketing, and IT support certificates. So these might be something, to look at to see if that could be something that would be useful for your learners. Practical AI for everyone. And if we wanted to come over here and look at what these certificates look like, there is an educator one. I know last year we focused on that as part of our Google Club. I don't know if anyone here went and took their certificates, but basically it's an online exam. It costs for the education certificate, I think it's $15, and then there's a level two that's $25 maybe. And you go online, you pay your money, and then they sort of tell you when your test is available. Then you have like a 24-hour window or something to take the test. And they warn you it could take like, I feel like it was like 8 hours or something. And it didn't take that long, 3 hours maybe. It didn't take that long. But it's challenging. And if you don't pass it, you've spent your money and then you need to do it again. So it's good they have to help you prepare for that, there are online courses. So that's what these are like as well. Um, yeah, so you can come in and look at this and consider this might be something that you want to do, right? Because then you get to say, so the idea is after you take these uh, certificate exams, you get a little icon or badge, and you can add that to your resume or your LinkedIn page. Students can do it too. So it's something to consider. They're all asynchronous, and the testing can be done in your home computer. It just needs a camera and so you can make sure that you're not cheating. And I think it maybe limits like you can't go out of the test to go check something on the internet. So that's how they kind of maintain their security. So there's a lot of stuff here. Um, so to me, this is a place I might come when I'm like, this summer, I want to commit to something, right? I want to, or you have a break between classes. Maybe now I know maybe one cycle is ending and you have a little break before the next cycle ends. This might be somewhere a place to come to find a certificate that you might want to take. Um, this is for your agency. You might want to consider coming in and looking at becoming a partner for Grow with Google. Um, this is all online. I do think with Grow with Google, there are in-person workshops, but you have to find them. And I don't think they're listed here. So that might be, let's see if we can find a place where you can sign up. So you can find coaches online. I don't know what they do anymore. I'll see if I can find the calendar. I know there was a way that you could put your stuff up on their calendar, so they had a calendar, but I don't know if they do anymore. So yeah, you can have a coach. And again, I'm not sure that that's free, so that's something to check out if you're interested in it. All right. And you could become a coach if you wanted to do that. All right. So that was um, learning.google. If you're looking for a specific situation, right? Like, so we've talked a little bit today about when we want to learn something new, and then maybe it's a little different when we want to deal with something that's changed. So this to me is where I would go if I wanted to learn something new. YouTube probably is where I go when I'm hitting up against something that's changed, and I'm hoping that other people have already found the solutions or have very kindly put up a video on how to do the thing I want to be able to do. Um, so this was learning Google. This is what we saw. So you have your learning for school, learning for work, learning for life. And then we have grow with Google. So grow with Google is what we were just looking at. So once you get in here and you start looking at the stuff for work, particularly, it's going to send you to grow with Google. So we have career certificates, AI trainings, you can become a partner, and there are other resources. Um, Then we have Google for Education Learning Center, and this is actually where all the training for the education certificates was. So if we go to this site, they've combined things together, right? So this is where they've put um, maybe you remember there was G Suites, and now we have Workspace, right? So Google went from G Suites to Workspace, which is basically their way of grouping all their tools together. If you want to buy them as a nonprofit or education center or a for-profit, there are different Google Workspaces, and it allows you to have shared drives and email addresses that are related to your email, to your domain, and things like that. So, as I said earlier, I have my personal Google account, which is a Gmail, and then I have a work one, which is a workspace. And we have, for the LAC, we have Workspace for nonprofits, which is actually free. You just have to go through some hoops to get it. Uh, this is their kind of place where they do all the training around Google Workspace. And there is a workspace for education, and that one is only available to entities that have a .edu in their domain. So I'm guessing none of us are those people, but if you're at a university, it could happen. If you were at a public school or a charter school or someplace that has the .edu at the end of your email or website, then you are eligible for Google for Education, Google Workspace for Education. And it's very much what we have access to. There's some slightly different things. I think the Google Classroom is a little different if you have the full education system. So when you decide to do if you decide to do the Google Educator certificates, they are premised on the idea that you're a teacher teaching in a school that has Google for Education. Again, I did the certificate myself and I didn't find that it was a problem that because I don't have access to exactly everything that a school system would have. But just know that that might be one of the things that you bump into where things are just a little different. Um, So you may have Google Workspace through your work. You may just be using Google like I am in my personal Gmail version. You basically have access to all the same things. They're just set up a little differently and they're not as connected if you're not using a full workspace, um, I don't know, agreement, I guess you could call it. So, Google for Education, lots of good things for us to look at. Sometimes it will be referencing Google Workspace for Education. We don't have to worry about it. So here we have Get Started with Google AI in K-12 Education. It tells you it's a 2-hour workshop, and it's level beginner. And as with most of their online courses, they're usually a series of small, like two short 2-minute videos, and then you go do some experimenting yourself, and then you come back and watch another 2-minute video, and it takes you through things that way. Um, so they'll have a survey, there'll be an introduction. It'll take you, as you watch the videos, you'll come through these different steps again. And then once you've taken the course, uh, there might be a series of courses, but that's when the certificate, once you've taken the full course, you can do you'll be ready for the certificate. Um, okay, so that was the AI one. So the top here, they just have featured ones, but you can pass all that by and come down to over at the top here, we have home and then we have browse. And browse is actually probably where I would spend more of my time. So again, for educators, Google AI training, for IT admins. So these are all the different certificates they have. But applied digital skills, and if you've come to Google Club before, you'll have heard me talk about applied digital skills. Applied digital skills is curriculum developed by Google using Google tools for education or educational purposes. And it's leveled by grade level. Adult ed is in there. The grade level, sometimes I don't think that's the best way to search. But by topic, by Google tool, some things are much longer, some courses are much shorter. The curriculum lesson ideas are shorter. Um, and you as a teacher can learn a lot. So even if you never turn around and exactly use this with your learners, this is a great place for you to learn something new to do with these tools. So as we scroll down, apply digital skills, we have browse all lessons, back to school. They usually have a focus on whatever the current special topic might be. So here we see Black history and culture. We have Earth Day, Latinx history. Interesting, they don't have the Women's History Month up yet. Anyway, so let's go browse all lessons. It can be a little overwhelming. Let's see how many they have these days. Are they going to tell us up here? No. All right. They used to tell you, and it was a little overwhelming. So if we search for a topic, we could say report on a project. Let's see if that brings something up. Oops, and spelling would be good. All right. So they have a series of these. Explore a topic, discover AI in daily life, explore a topic, Earth Day, explore. So these are those special topics. Let's look at technology at work and just see what it does for you. So it tells you the time to complete the whole thing, who they think it's aimed at. I say that because often the audience is a little bit of a flaky reference point in that it all depends on how you handle the content. So, one of my favorite lessons from early days of this project was if then stories. And it was using Google Slides to create if then stories. So, slide number one, there's the beginning of an adventure, and people choose A or B. So, you're walking home from school, it starts to rain. Do you run home or do you go buy an umbrella or go to your friend's house. And then depending on the answer, that takes you to a different slide. And this is how you learn that you can connect slides out of sequence. So while slides are made in a linear way, you can add links inside a slide to take you to another slide that's out of that linear context, which is helpful anyway, but you practice it in this way to make kind of a fun story. And you practice writing, and you can practice putting images in, and it's all a lot of fun. That was given the audience of like grade school kids. And I was like, well, that to me works for any age. It's the content, it's the story that you're putting in there. So the audience for me has always been a little bit of a flaky deal, but it's very helpful to know which tools you're going to be using. It's very helpful to know which particular skills we're talking about. Um, and then, just like they do for the certificates, they have this series. They show you what you're moving through. They have teaching materials. So you would start by clicking here. There'll be a little video. The video can be sped up. I think you can choose the time, how fast it goes. Well, maybe not anymore. Used to be that you could change the speed. Um, so you'd watch the video and then you go to the next thing, and usually there's an activity or you might still be learning things. And then at some point you'll have to go out and do some work and come back. And you can see I can do all of this without logging in. You, in order to save your progress or to, uh, you can also create kind of almost like a playlist of um, curriculum that you like. You can do all of that if you log in. So if I click on log in, and this has probably changed a bit. Back in the day, this was a separate website and you had to log in specifically and you would log in as a teacher. If I log in as me, will it just let me do that? That's fine. Yeah, so it's just going to take well, whatever account you have. And I have this partially because I was doing the certificate for teachers. Um, so you can log in that way. And then I don't know how you get back to where you were before. Let's me move myself around here. All right. Yeah. I'm just back arrowing because I don't know where it was taking me, why it took me to my information. Let's see if I refresh. Yeah, so now I'm logged in. Um, so once I'm logged in, I can click on add page to favorites. Let's get ourselves back out. And you can search for topics up here too. So let's go back out. And then there's more resources. Yeah, so I think this is the certificate classes. Right. So basic use of Google Workspace for education, getting started with AI, um, premium teaching, browse all the courses. So there's lots here. And so this is still kind of something if you're looking, if you're, planning, you would like to learn something. Um, you can do these buckets, for example, or you could choose to, and your learners could come here too. They could click student and find lessons that way too. So these are just really, they're almost overwhelming in how rich they are with opportunities. And so it's easy just to ignore them altogether. But think about it as a possibility. Again, being intentional by saying, yes, I'm going to take the certificate. It isn't a lot of work. It's just, what I find tricky with all these online courses is there's something about maybe doing it with a buddy or having someone else help you stay accountable that can be helpful. And so maybe you want to do it with a coworker, because otherwise sometimes it's very hard just to make the decision to do this um, when there's so many other things to do. Okay, so we had our Learn with Google. We have our Google for Education Learning Center. Um, Someone's unmuted. Do you have a question? And feel free, anybody has any questions, raise your hands or unmute yourselves or put it in the chat. Oh, I think it's Claudia. I'm going to mute you, Claudia, but I'm just doing that because there was a little background sound, but people are welcome to unmute. Um, Right. So that's basically it for this. Are there questions or areas, if you think about something you've bumped into recently with Google or a Google tool that has changed for you, how did you resolve that? Does anybody want to share? One of the, I'm going to talk for a moment, but I hope you're thinking, a little bit about what might be true for you. So, when we come to our drive, right, I mentioned at the beginning of the session that I used to take some time to talk a little bit about how you could get back to the slides from the session, right? So if you, the link I put in the chat, if you had clicked on that and your Chrome was open and your drive was open, then, or you were logged in, then this would end up getting saved in the shared with me. But shared with me is kind of a Wild West in that it's chronological and the new things that you access will come to the top. And then it can be hard sometimes to find old things. Um, so my recommendation is to maybe go there and find the thing, but then I want to right click on it, go to organize and make a shortcut and put that shortcut into my folder. And that way I know exactly where it is. So that's something that I'm used to being able to do. So that's something I'm comfortable with. It stayed the same. I don't have a problem with it. Something that's come up for me recently, and we talked about this maybe in a recent Google Club, or maybe it was a different workshop I was doing, but um, when we're looking at the things that show up under new, so I'm in my drive and I want to create a new document and I click on new. This has changed, right? So I don't know, maybe 2 years ago or a year ago, Google Forms was under more. And under more, we had Jamboard and other things that don't exist anymore. And this thing, Google Vids, didn't exist, right? So is there anyone here who's tried out Google Vids? Because it's been popping up there, and I don't know if any of you have tried it out or noticed it was there and wondered what it was. Any brave souls tried it out? So if you wanted to learn about Google Vids, we had on our list of things you can do trial and error, right? So we just click on it and see what it does. So I'm going to go there, see what it does. So it's AI and it's videos. It's short videos or easy ways to make videos. So we have here generate an 8-second AI video clip. We have an AI avatar. Write a script, choose an avatar, and generate a video. What? We have convert slides. So I could put my slides in here and it will have a person talk about the slides and take people through the slides. You can record yourself, your screen, or both. So you could do a screencast. So say you were trying to show someone how to do something on their screen, you could come here and use this. Upload media from Drive, Photos, or your computer. I'm checking the chat. Yes. So Dennis, I see you ask if I'm going to share the slides. Yes, I will share the slides and I can share them again right now. I shared them at the very beginning, but then I haven't shared them again. All right, so our slides are there. Again, I'll email them to you at the end too. So actually, let's try this. So uh, one of the things we can do here is take our slides and make them into a recorded, like a little video. So I'm going to come here and click on this option. And it's going to ask, now this is all Google focused, right? So the things have to be in my Google. And let's go ahead and take our recording for today. So there's our slides for today. I'm good with all the slides, so just leave them all in there. So it says include AI voiceover script background music. Sure, do that, all those things. And I'm going to say import. So you saw at the top, you could select out of that whole slide deck just to have it for certain slides and not have all the bells and whistles. But why not try all the bells and whistles? So it does take them a moment. All right, now I don't know the volume's gonna be very good because I did not make my share with good sound, but I will share this link and you can look at it that way too. But if I click play, can you hear it? I don't know that you're able to hear it. I can change my sharing in a moment. Okay, you can't hear it, so let me stop it right now. All right, 1 second. Okay, so let me stop sharing for one moment. And then I'm going to share with sound. Let's see if we can do that.
To enable you to locate
Can
support
you hear
when
it
you need
now?
help and to develop and use open educational resources, or OERs. Here is the calendar for upcoming Google Club meetings for the fiscal year 2026,
Yay, you can
including
hear it now.
registration links
So
for each session. Our agenda covers how we learn and adapt to technology changes, focusing
I didn't put any notes down underneath or anything like that. And it just this is what AI can do. It can see what I wrote here and it kind of understands what I'm talking about. The narration sounds very natural. There's a little music in the background. So imagine that you had used this with your students, right? We start off by maybe doing this live, but then you want to make a video that people could come back to. Or maybe it's homework and it's comprehension, and you do this, and then students have to respond to whatever you've done. So, very quickly, you can take something, again, it's your knowledge, your creation, but AI can help you change the output into something that can be accessed by your students in different ways. Um, so, it's pretty amazing. Let me see if I can figure out how to share this with you all.
But Nell, does it incorporate your voiceover too? Or is it
No.
just the AI voice?
It's just the AI voice. So if you want to record, you can record, I think even using one of those other so it had that. Let me just get you this link. And then um, I'm going to give you this in the chat. You can tell me if it works to give you the video. I don't know. Um, so when we were looking at the vids possibilities, one of the other options was this one over here, right? Where you can record yourself. So you could have, basically what we're doing today, where I'm using Zoom, we're here all together, we're recording it. Most of it is going to be seeing my slides and me talking. Um, I've sometimes done this again later, right? So maybe I have my own Zoom meeting where no one else comes and I record myself that way, or I use another tool called Loom sometimes for this as well. But you could do it here using vids. So you could come to this version and then show your screen, share your screen or share your slides in slide format, and then record yourself talking if you want to use your own voice. Um, I mean, I haven't tried these other ones. I don't know, you know.
The link works though. We can hear it and the music and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. After I changed, so that was to do with my sharing in Zoom, because when you share in Zoom, I'm speaking into this microphone and the sound you hear is coming through the microphone. So when I stopped sharing and reshared it, I selected to add share audio and share video, and then it also brings in the audio from the computer. So that was my mistake from the beginning. It wasn't to do with the vids thing. Also note that you could do it for these different uh, size screens. So if you know that your learners are going to be watching this on a phone screen, you might want to create your content in a portrait manner. If you're putting it up on a social media platform, you might want to make it in a square format. So they do all those things. And then there's a blank vid. Who knows? Okay, so this was trial and error a little bit, right? Like I'm willing to try this out because it's low hanging fruit for me to turn slides into. Um, Am I sharing my screen right now? I don't know. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. I don't see the outline of what I'm sharing, but anyway. Um, so that was trial and error. Now, if I want to get more advanced, and I would say this is my path quite often, right? Like I'm willing to click on it, but then I get a little nervous or I won't try something completely new. And so I might go now look for some YouTube videos on using vids and also thinking about new ways to use it, right? Because there were some ways that quickly made sense to me, but not knowing everything it can do, um, or not thinking about it maybe from different kinds of content creation, watching a video of somebody else creating it and using it a certain way might give me some inspiration. So that's definitely something as a teacher I would consider doing, right? That I'm going to find a new tool. I'm willing to click around a little bit, trial and error. And then I might need, or maybe it's too scary already, and I'm just going to go find the YouTube video first, and then maybe I'll go to those Google learning spaces and see if they have something on vids, where it's a little deeper, and I might learn something more from a deeper perspective rather than maybe the lighter version. Um, so consider this, right? That's what today's session was really about, was how do we continue to learn? And we have Google Club, we have workshops, you have other resources that you access. But if you're looking for something that you're not getting, or you need it in at a specific time, you do have these resources out there available to you. So I'm going to give you the link to our evaluation. And in the meantime, if you have any questions or observations you would like to share, or things that this makes you excited to try out. I'm hoping you'll try out vids. I want to see your vids.
So if we, this is Dennis speaking. If we try it out, how do we share it with you? You want us to, you have a group SharePoint or a group email that we can use?
Yeah, if you just email it to me. So right now we don't have a Google group sharing thing, but if you send it to me, I will make sure that we look at it together at the next Google Club. Or you can bring it to the end too. Our last session, we will have that big share. So if you want to do it that way, and we can work on having a Google Club, Google group. We just haven't done that before. So, but if you share it with me, I would love to see it, and
Okay, no
that'd be
problem.
fantastic.
And let's work on
Fantastic.
that Google group club. It is a club, so
I
it should
agree. We
be.
should have an ongoing
It should,
conversation. I like it.
I like that too.
All right. Well, I'll work on that.
I appreciate
We'll
that.
have
Thank you.
that between times. So a Google Club, Google group. It really does make sense. Anybody else? Any thoughts or anybody worried? Like, what the heck? That's totally creepy. What's that AI doing? One of the reasons also to make a video maybe where it sounds like a regular person is to talk to your students about the fact that like how can you tell? And why we have to be careful then, right? That our media literacy skills, we need to sharpen them because things that we're used to relying on our eyes and our ears to tell us if something is real or not can't can't use it always now. So we have to use some other skills, and we can talk about media literacy next time when we're talking about AI. We'll definitely talk a little bit about that aspect of AI and why it can be really good to show students how they can create content so they'll really understand it's that easy to make something that seems like a real person. So don't be taken in by it and look at who created it and why would there be, what's the benefit? Who's benefiting from it? So we'll talk a little bit about some skills around media literacy because I really think those are our only protection at this point. AI is outpacing us with our human abilities to judge and our desires to believe something is real when it isn't. All right, well, I'm going to say we're done for today. I'll stay on. I'm going to stop recording. If I'll be sending you an email, probably not tonight, so it'll probably be tomorrow, an email with a follow-up with the slide link. And by that time, the video will be up on YouTube and also a blog post. So you'll be able to come back to our recording here. And also see previous ones in case they're topics that you're now kind of intrigued by. And our next month we'll be looking at AI, so that should be a fun one. So again, I'm going to stop recording now. I'm staying on for a few minutes, but you're very welcome to leave and just do fill out that evaluation. And I look forward to seeing you next month.